Good morning, everybody. Yitzchak Rabin, the late Prime Minister of Israel, was once at a yechidus, at a private audience, a private discussion with the Lubavitcher Rebbe many years ago. And the Rebbe asked him, how are things going? How are you doing? So he tells the Rebbe, I can't complain. Everything is good, I can't complain. So the Rebbe replied, our sages teach us that there are two different elements over here. When it comes to ruchnius, when it comes to spiritual things, a person should never be satisfied. When it comes to physical matters, a person should try to be satisfied because you'll never get to the end of it. So there's a value of being happy where you are, and that being happy where you are is on a physical level, but to always strive to reach higher on a spiritual level. The story is told of a rabbi that he moved out to the Midwest. I think he studied at YU. I don't remember the school that he studied in, but he studied in a yeshiva, and he moved out to be a rabbi in the Midwest. And after X amount of years there, he felt that he's kind of not exactly on the level that he should be. He doesn't have the warmth, doesn't have the inspiration, he doesn't have that atmosphere to keep him on and maintain on the level that he was when he started. So he called up his Rosh Yeshiva, he called up his dean of his headmaster of his yeshiva to discuss this with him. And the headmaster told him, to be honest with you, I can't really advise you because I don't live in the world and in the experience that you're having now. I live in a yeshiva world. I have people around me. We strengthen each other. So I can't really give you advice. My suggestion is maybe to call the Lubavitcher Rebbe for two reasons. Number one, he has many shluchim, many emissaries all over the world. So he's dealing with this on a constant basis. And number two, he himself, when he was younger, he went to college. So he has a much more of a worldly background that he should be able to relate to what you're going through. So the rabbi decided he's going to do so. He never met the Lubavitcher Rebbe before. He's not a Chabad follower, but he heard enough from the Rebbe, about the Rebbe, that he could try it out, see what happens. So he makes an anonymous phone call. He calls the Rebbe's office, and the secretary picks up. And he tells the secretary that he's calling, and he's a man from this and this town, this and this place in the Midwest. And he has a life question, something he's going through, a struggle, and he wants to discuss this with the Lubavitcher Rebbe over the phone, if possible. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe is in the room, and the secretary is giving over what he's hearing on the phone to the Rebbe. And he hears the way the secretary is repeating what this man is requesting to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe tells the secretary, tell this man that there's a rabbi in this town. His name is Mr. So-and-so, and he could discuss it with him, and I'm sure he'll help him out. Now, the name of the rabbi was him. So he wasn't sure he heard correctly, so he asks the secretary to repeat it again. And the secretary repeats the name again. So he tells the secretary, if you could tell the Rebbe, what if it's the rabbi himself that has the question? So he asks the Rebbe says, then tell him to have a conversation with himself. Which means to say that he has to find it within himself, the koiches, the energy, the power, the potential to reveal it. So he said he had a private audience with the Rebbe that never happened because it was over the phone. It wasn't like he actually went there. But this was the biggest life lesson that he ever had. And whenever he had problems and he had a discussion or a dilemma, he would always sit down with himself, discuss it, and come with a solution. So from here we see there's always that power. We could demand more from ourselves, and we have a lot to give. So let's go for it.